Hello there, welcome back. We are almost done here, chapter 11. When we left off, we had just finished solving these two questions. There was a whole bunch of handwriting on the screen, but we had talked about how to solve two-step equations, and now we need to look at what to do if the equation has more than that. So on this page in your notes, what you will see is a list of instructions that show you how to work through this multi-step equation, which is what they're called. A multi-step equation meaning you have more than two steps to solve the problem. Okay, so this is 4 steps here. The first thing that you do is if you have parentheses, okay, you use the distributive property to simplify. Now I kind of wish I would have added what that does is it removes parentheses. You want to do that first. If you see parentheses in there, you need to use that distributive property where you multiply that the outside number against all the terms on the inside. Okay, after you've done that, you want to collect your like terms. That means add all your x's together and add all your y's together and add all your z's together. But don't mix those up. Remember, you can't add different variables, but you do want to add the same variables together. Then once you've done that, that's when you should look to move all the variables to one side. Okay, and we'll look to see what happens if you have a variable on both sides and how to do that. And you do that by adding the opposite of whatever that number is you want to move. And then at that point, you should have either a 1 or 2 step equation that you just go through and solve, just like I showed you in the previous videos earlier. So let's look at a couple right here. If I look at this question, number 1, the first thing I notice is that I have 2 terms that have like terms. They both have x's, so you want to add those together. So you want to add 3x plus 4x. You want to add that 4x plus 3x together, and that makes 7x. So do you see where that came from? That 4x plus 3x gave me that 7x. Now, if you notice right here, what you have now is a one-step equation. Okay, so you just do that. This one actually skipped from a multi-step to a one-step equation because it didn't have something added here to it. So at this point, you're just going to divide both of those sides by 7. Here's the step I should have shown you. I thought it was going to pop up on the screen. You want to divide both sides by 7, okay, because dividing by that 7 over 7, again, that should be reviewed. That gives you that 1x that you're looking for. That 1x equals -3. And again, as I mentioned, I think in an earlier video, that you can and you should check the question by substituting the answer that you got here, -3, in for those x's and see if it works out. So watch what happens if I do that. 4 times -3 plus 3 times -3. Well, what we want to do is we want to see, does that actually work out to be -21? If it does, you have the right answer. If it doesn't, you did something wrong. So if we work this out using the order of operations, that's -12 plus -9. And you add -12 plus -9, that does equal -21. So you just check your answer there that you do have the correct answer. The answer is -3. That is your check mark, your check right here to see that you actually do have the right answer. Number 2 is very similar to that. But what I would suggest doing here is that you should change that question to addition, like we talked about, so you could see that -10y plus -3y is equal to -13y. Okay, and now what you want to do is you're going to divide both sides by -13. Okay, creating 1y on the left and creating 3 on the right. And again, you could substitute 3 in for that. There you can see. I'm sorry, it's +3, not -3. +3, that would be -30. Substitute in, I almost did it again. 3 there, that would be -9. 3 times 3 is 9. Positive times negative. So you add those together and you would get -39. So the answer is 3 there for us. So we're almost done here. Just a couple more. These are multi-step equations. If you have 2-step equations down, those two look pretty easy. Here's a couple that are a little more complicated than those first two. Notice here that we have variables on both sides. Okay, so there's no parentheses in here. So what you want to do here is move all the variables to one side. Okay, so we want to do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract that 2x. Yeah, that's what I did there. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to let that peek in. That wasn't supposed to disappear. I'm going to move the two variables to one side. I'm going to subtract 2x. Okay, if I subtract 2x from each side, do the math right here. 2x plus negative 2x, that's 0 right there. You have 0 plus 5. Okay, that works out there, and that becomes 2x plus 3. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we added these two together to get 2x, brought down the 3, brought down the equal sign. That is 0. That's fine, so I have 2x plus 3 equals 5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to subtract 3, because you know what this is right here? Do you recognize that? That's a two-step equation. All right, that's a two-step equation. So I'm going to solve it. Remember we learned on a two-step equation, you add the, you get rid of what's being added or subtracted. There's 0. You're left with 2x here. So you have 2x. 5 plus negative 3 is 2. So you divide both those sides by 2. You end up with x is equal to 1. Right there. Now again, we could check that. Okay, we could check that. That's our answer. Okay, and we could check that by substituting the 1 in for there. So 4 times 1 plus 3. It says that that should equal, if we substitute 1 right there, 2 times 1 plus 5. Do you understand what I'm doing there? I'm just taking this equation again. All right, and I am substituting in the answer that I got to see if they work out. It works out to be true. So 4 plus 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7. 7 does equal 7. So my check is true. Again, that's just checking my answer. My answer is correct because I checked it and it worked out right. There. Okay, our last question right here, number 4. You're almost done. This is the last of the instruction right here. This one you have a parentheses. And so if you recall on the slide a few minutes ago, the first thing we want to do is remove parentheses. So to do that, you have to use the distributive property that we learned earlier in chapter 11 by multiplying this 3 times each of the terms there. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times negative 3 is 9. That's equal to 27. All right, we're going to add 9 here. Okay. All right, this part right here, that's 0. So you got this 6y has to stay. 6y is equal to 27 plus 9 is 36. We're going to divide it by 6. And you have y is equal to 6. And that is indeed the answer. If you'd like to check it, you should check it with a calculator if you don't do anything else. You substitute for the y, you substitute the 6. 3 times 2 times 6 minus 3. And we're going to work that out now to see if we get 27. There's 12 minus 3 in the parentheses. Okay, 12 minus 3 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. There you go. You can check it all when you solve for equations. And that's the nice thing when we do the solving part of the class. So, congratulations. That's the end of the instruction. That's the end of chapter 11. That should cover everything you should need to know for chapter 11. Keep working hard on your homework. You're almost done. And I hope that worked out well for you. And I will see you soon.